This week, I'm continuing to review the Jurassic trilogy with Jurassic Park: The Lost World. This film was released 4 years after the groundbreaking original, and undeniably, it had to meet some enormous expectations. While it doesn't quite reach the heights of the previous movie, The Lost World has plenty of great action scenes and expands the universe in interesting ways. The film takes a darker tone than the original, focusing on the greedy capitalist pigs who hunt these poor animals, ripping them from their habitats for profit, while still maintaining those moments of wonder that made the first film so special, of course, but just not enough in my opinion. I found this movie to be great, mostly because of Jeff Goldblum, but there's some seriously cool sequences in this movie that make it worth watching, although I will say that this movie didn't quite capture me like the first. There are only so many routes you can take with a sequel to a film like Jurassic Park, and I feel like this nails it. Spielberg returns to direct, having to piece together a 2-hour movie out of the original novel. It's slightly longer than the original movie at 129 minutes, but it still keeps a decent pace. The screenplay is solely by David Coep this time around, and it continues to take inspiration from Michael Crichton's novel. It seems like a lot of key elements from the novel don't actually make it into the film, such as the Pyron disease that affected the dinosaurs on Site B, and the character of Richard Levine. I haven't read the book, so I'm not exactly sure what his role was, but I do know the character of Sarah Harding borrows most of his traits. The film had an increased budget of $73 million and was really successful, grossing over $618 million worldwide, just not as successful as its predecessor. Building on the revolutionary effects from the first film, The Lost World features even more dinosaurs, such as the Pachycephalosaurus and the Stegosaurus. I will say that the dinosaurs didn't look amazing this time around. They feel really janky. It could be due to seeing them close up in the daylight, but other than the practical animatronics and the 2 T-Rexes, they just aren't jaw-dropping. Stan Winston's team returns, creating some of those stunning animatronics I was just talking about, like the baby T-Rex for instance. Dean Cundey, the cinematographer for the first film, doesn't actually return for the sequel. Instead, he's replaced by Janusz Kaminski, who creates a much darker atmosphere than in the first film, losing that magical feel. I enjoy a lot of the darker scenes in the film, but it is missing that wonder, which is what the world of Jurassic Park really needs. Like I said, some sequences in the film are incredible. I think my favourite has to be the T-Rex attack on the trailer. It looks beautiful and is super intense. My second favourite is obviously when the T-Rex is let loose. The destruction it causes is epic, and again, mostly because it's filmed in the dark, the T-Rex looks awesome. I love Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm. Although he's incredibly flamboyant in his roles, he nails some tense and serious parts of this film. I do feel as though he's a bit different from his character in the previous film. He feels a lot less cocky. I've seen a lot of people commenting on how he could have PTSD due to the events of the last film, which, I mean, yeah, that's some pretty scary shit he went through.
That's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Julianne Moore joins the cast as Dr. Sarah Harding, a behavioural paleontologist and Malcolm's girlfriend. She's a strong character who seems to be the voice of reason throughout the movie, although she's stupidly curious and puts the group in danger multiple times. Vince Vaughn plays Nick Van Owen, a documentarian and environmental activist. Honestly, he's not bad in this. He's more notable for his comedic roles, but smashes it here. Someone with the completely opposite perspective as Nick is Roland Temple, a big game hunter who's pretty much there on his own agenda, as all he wants to do is hunt a male T-Rex. Peter Postlethwaite comes across really intimidating. He's brilliant. Malcolm's daughter Kelly, played by Vanessa Lee Chester, gives us the child perspective that Spielberg often includes in his adventure films. Her gymnastics skills saving the day feels quite odd, but I really don't mind it. Richard Attenborough returns briefly as John Hammond, who's now a changed man, advocating for dinosaur preservation. We also see the kids from the previous film, Lex and Tim, who are a bit older, but it's nice to see the continuity. Now, Hammond's nephew, Peter Ludlow, takes charge of InGen as the antagonist of the film. Arliss Howard plays a great character who you really just want to punch in the face. I know I didn't do a trivia section for my review of Jurassic Park, but I'm going to do one for this movie because I just didn't have enough to say about it, and I want to keep these videos around the same length. So here are some facts about the film that I found the most interesting. Julianne Moore admitted that she did this movie for 2 reasons: to pay off a divorce settlement and to work with Steven Spielberg. The vocalizations for the juvenile Tyrannosaurus were of a baby camel crying for its mother. And lastly, the 2 models of the T-Rex each weighed 9 tons. Due to their weight, the crew constructed sets around them rather than moving them onto sets. The Lost World may not have the wonder or the charm of the first film, but it's just as intense and entertaining. This sequel expands the world, giving us an entirely new island, and uses its characters like Ian Malcolm to dive deeper into the mortality of bringing these dinosaurs back to life. I won't lie, the film lacks some sound logic in areas and may have fallen due to the weight of the fans' expectations, but it's different. They explore darker tones, new dinosaurs, and cool new set designs. I feel like The Lost World doesn't get the attention it deserves, and yes, while it may not be perfect, it's certainly an enjoyable continuation of the Jurassic franchise.